Welcome to Conversations with Miss Marcie, the podcast where we get real about relationships, culture, and the truth that shapes us. No fluff, no filters, just bold conversations that matter. Now let's dive in. Hey, hey, hey. It is Miss Marcie, and welcome to another episode of Conversations with Miss Marcie. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. And to everybody, make sure you subscribe to this podcast, share this podcast with your mama and them, your father and them, your baby father and them, everybody, so that everybody can be in tune and so you can know when a new episode drops. Also, I wanted to add that we are now on Amazon Music and Audible, as well as Pandora. So we are officially now on all the major streaming podcast platforms. Yes. Thank you to everybody who continue to support. I really do appreciate you guys. And thank you for like your emails and your comments and everything, because I do enjoy reading those. So yeah, now we are going to discuss some good stuff today. But first, let's get into our Hidden Figures segments. Welcome to this segment of Hidden Figures. Today we spotlight Katherine Johnson. When most people think of space missions, they picture astronauts and rockets. But behind every successful launch were brilliant minds working tirelessly behind the scenes, and one of those brightest was Creola Katherine Johnson. Born on August 26 of 1918 in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, a mathematician at NASA, Katherine calculated flight trajectories for John Glenn's orbit around Earth and the Apollo 11 moon landing. She did this at a time when both racial and gender barriers tried to limit her opportunities, but her precious perseverance, precision, and brilliance could not be ignored. Katherine's story reminds us that some of the most critical contributions happen quietly, often without the recognition they deserve. She broke barriers, reshaped the space program, and inspired generations to pursue fields they were once told were out of reach. Katherine Johnson passed away in February of 2020 at the age of 101. Yes. And that's our quick look at Katherine Johnson, a true inspiration. And speaking of making smart moves, let's get into our sponsor regarding something that can help protect you and your family. All right, y'all, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Trayvon Martin with American Income Life Insurance. If you're here in Ohio and thinking about protecting your family, Trayvon makes it super easy and personal. And here's something I love. They've got the Legacy Head Start program. It's really affordable and it's all about giving your kids a head start in life. We all want the best for our kids, right? Right. So why not give them a little boost for their future? I also want to mention the Child Safe Kits, which are absolutely free. These kits offer peace of mind for parents in case of an emergency or if your child goes missing. Having all of their critical information in one place helps law enforcement respond faster and more effectively. Also, the Child Safe Kits provides a centralized location for personal info, physical descriptors, and fingerprints, which are crucial for creating Amber Alerts or sharing with authorities. If you are in Ohio and you are serious about protecting your family, you can reach Trayvon at 937-430-9044 or hit him on his email at treymartin32@gmail.com. That's TREMARTIN 32@gmail.com. Just tell them Conversations with Miss Marcie sent you and get your family's future protected today. All right, now that we're back, let's do our mental health check-in for the week. All right, this week I've been feeling motivated about, certain projects that I'm working on. And also, I've been also feeling mentally drained and exhausted, due to work. I ain't gonna lie, I ain't gonna hold y'all. That's why right now I'm sitting here sipping on this wine. I said today is the day I'm gonna just exhale, baby. I got this double XL, the peach flavor, and I'm just gonna kick back. I'm gonna do this podcast, and then when I get off of here, I'm just gonna maybe catch up on some shows or whatnot, but I just have to relax because it's been like, you know how sometimes it could be stressful, but it's a good stress. It's not like a stress where it's like, oh my gosh, it's just really been a very productive week at work, and it's just been very exhausting as well. So, yeah, that's the kind of week I've had. But like I said, I am excited and, just motivated for some projects that I'm working on. I like I said, I like my job, but it is mentally draining. The mentally draining part comes from the vital role that I play within the company, and I have to think and be on top of things. So it's not much room for error. So it's like when you have that in place, it's kind of like, yeah, it is. It is like a little stressful, but like I said, it's a productive type of stressful. You know what I mean? So, and we have a new like system at work too that we've implemented, and it's been causing issues, which has been causing overtime and stress. So it's like I ain't gonna lie, I was so stressed this month. My period came late, and I was like, "What the fuck? What is going on here?" So I was a little nervous about that. Like, hold up, I know my cycle like clockwork, but it came late, and I know it was due to stress, and maybe other things as far as I'm getting older, I'm getting up there in age, so at this age you start dealing with like stuff like perimenopause and stuff. So it's like maybe I should do a episode about that, since that is something that a lot of our listeners can probably relate to. So I would love to, yeah, do a segment, do an episode on that or whatever. So I'll look into that. But yeah, so that that was what was going on and everything, and so but it's okay, like I said, everything worked out and everything's all good. I do want to add this real quick. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, tap follow and leave a quick review. It helps the show reach more people. And yeah, I just had to add that because I meant to add that at the top. But anyway, so back to the mental health check-in. So, like I said, everything is all good. And like I said, I do expect for my cycles to be changing anyway. Like I said, as I get older and I wanted to do this cleanse or whatever, but I was like, I'm gonna wait till maybe like another week or whatever. And yeah, so just to kind of get my body, cleansed because I've been kind of eating kind of crazy too. But yeah, so anyway, I've been doing a lot of OT at work and everything. And it's so funny because I ain't gonna lie. At first, when we was told we had to do OT, I was like, oh my gosh, I was pissed. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I got things to do. But baby, when I got that check, I said, okay. It's so funny because my brother was like, yeah, you be, talking all that shit when it come to doing overtime. But when you get that check, you be like, you know what? It wasn't that bad. And that's exactly how I was feeling like, it wasn't that bad. So, so anyway, so yeah, but once I started to relax more and everything, like I said, everything came, my cycle came, everything just was cool or whatever. So all right, that is my mental health check-in for the week. Just remember it's okay to feel all the things and to take care of yourself. So all right, so let's get into the topic of the week, y'all. Now that we're all warmed up, let's dive in. So, there's been this long standing debate about whether men and women can be truly friends. Now, for a while, I joined in on this debate, and I would often say no. Okay. But here's what I've realized: the real question isn't simply whether men and women can be friends. It's whether men and women can be friends when there's attraction involved. Now, my honest opinion is absolutely not. When there is attraction involved between a man and a woman, and I'm going to say this again, when there is attraction involved between a man and a woman, You cannot be friends because now that there is attraction, there is also hidden intention. And I want to add that at a certain age, it's definitely a no because as grown men and women, the desire to connect with someone is stronger. It's stronger than it was, when we were teenagers. Because I remember being a teenager and what let me go back. Let me go back to prior to being a teenager because at teenage stage you started going through hormonal changes and things like that. But when you're like in elementary and stuff like that, yeah, you can be friends with a boy or whatever. You can be friends with the opposite sex because you don't really know attraction like that. You're not really, you haven't gone through the feeling of desire in the opposite sex like that. I mean, you still may recognize that a boy is, attractive or whatever, but it's like it's still you can be friends with them. But as you get older and you start to go through hormonal changes and you start to have a desire to have sex and things like that, no, you cannot be friends with someone that you have attraction to. And sometimes you can come in contact with somebody of the opposite sex and there not be any attraction there. And then you spend time together with that person and attraction grows. I know that from a personal standpoint because that actually happened in my life. I think when I was around in my early 20s, I met a guy and he was not my type physically. And that's not to say he wasn't attractive or anything like that, but he wasn't my type because I like dark skinned men. I mean, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't date someone who was a lighter complexion. I'm just saying that, especially when I was younger, we hung up on types when we younger. Like, oh my gosh. But I'm just saying, when I met him, that wasn't what it was. We wasn't trying to get with each other. We just happened to work together and everything. And then we were cool. And but as nature would have it, we started to spend time together because we were our authentic selves because we wasn't trying to get with each other. So we were our authentic selves and we were drawn to each other and over time attraction just grew, you know? And so the friendship no longer was pure. It was no longer innocent, if you know what I mean. So that is when I learned too that men and women cannot be friends when there's attraction involved. So, like I said, when you become a certain age, it lessens the likelihood of a grown ass man and a grown ass woman just being platonic friends without ever entertaining the thought of crossing the line or ever crossing that line. You see? So, I mean that's just my honest opinion. And like I said, when a man or a woman makes it there, I feel like this at this age, when you see a man or a woman who are making it their business to be friends, it's because they like each other. There's some attraction going on. They possibly want more, but for whatever reason, they can't or won't pursue more. You see, because basically meaning there is some type of reservation there. Sometimes just friends is just a cover story. Circumstances, fear, or social expectations can mask the real feelings. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's not that simple. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just not. It's like when you are a man and a woman, it's like, it's natural. It's nature. So I feel like sometimes in some cases, maybe one or both parties could be like married or something, or they're in a relationship, or maybe one party's in a relationship, or both are in a relationship. So they can't really get with this quote unquote friend like they want to. Or it could be a situation where someone could be best friends with the other person's mate. Or one party could have, dated a man. I'm sorry, I'm saying it wrong. One party could have dated or been married to one party's family member. There could be a number of reasons. I'm saying all that to say there could be so many reasons. So they use friendship, quotes, I'm saying it in quotes, friendship as a way to Basically, deal with one another without feeling guilty or looking inappropriate. You see, labels don't define reality. Calling it friendship doesn't make a hidden intention. It doesn't make hidden intentions disappear. You see, there's a guy I know. He's a guy I knew from childhood. I knew when I was a teenager and everything. And we actually started to communicate via Facebook some years ago. And this young man, he's always, always wanted to sleep with me or whatever. We've never slept together. So, but as a grown man, he has a child's mother. I don't want to say baby mama, but he has a child with a young lady that he continues to be with. And I know they go through their stuff or whatever, so they be kind of like on and off. But whatever the case, he's involved with someone that he truly loves. However, that doesn't take away the desire that he has to want to fuck around with me for real, for real. So what was going on for a couple of years, and I'm not gonna lie, I entertained this young man because I knew him, he was familiar, and I just, I ain't gonna lie, I guess I was kind of okay with the attention, but I knew how far I was willing to go or not go with him. But my whole point is this: the point I'm making is he would keep in contact with me. He would reach out to me and he would try to put it like, oh, we're just friends, But I knew the bigger picture was, nah, you really wouldn't mind fucking with me for real. I knew that. Yeah, you got your baby mom that you love. And let me say this too. For anybody that want to say, oh, you was talking to him even though you knew that he actually at first when me and him first started communicating, I don't think they were together because I know he had cheated on her and they had broke up at one point. But I think at some point during the time he and I were communicating and things like that, I think they got back together. And of course he didn't tell me that. Of course he got back with her and everything, and he still entertained me. Because some men do stuff like that. So he and I would keep in contact. We would talk and everything. And I enjoyed our conversations, I'm not going to lie. But at first, like I said, I didn't know that they had gotten back together. I did find out that they had got back together and everything. But like I said, he was very he was just so secretive about that. He would not let me know that he had gotten back with his son's mother. And it was because he had hidden intentions because he wanted to fuck with me. We were not just friends because there was attraction involved. And that attraction stemmed from when we were young. So again, that's another example that that lets me that lets me feel how I feel about men and women being friends. Then there's another situation where I know a young man who he actually keeps in contact with a young lady under the guise of friendship. But I know for a fact he's attracted to this young woman and he wouldn't mind fucking with her. But he used to deal with her cousin in real life. So it's like he knows that looks kind of crazy. So what he does is he keeps her, he keeps her in his back pocket, meaning he keeps in contact with her. He'll reach out to her under the guise of friendship. But in the meantime, he does little stuff like he may buy her a gift here and there, or he'll try to show up like he's just this almighty friend that he just really wants to be her friend. Again, going back to what I said, that when somebody's breaking their neck to be somebody's friend, especially at this age, that's not someone that just wants to be a friend. That's somebody that want to fuck with you. But they don't feel like they can because it's so many other, there's other factors involved. So yeah, like I said, it's really about people just holding that quote unquote friendship title because they have reservations about getting with the person how they really want to get with them. And yeah, I feel I stand 10 toes on that, and nobody can change my mind about that. I just don't think that men and women, can be friends when there's attraction involved. Now, I'm also the type of woman, I don't really care for my man to have a lot of female friends. I don't care to date a man who has a lot of female friends or who keeps in contact with girlfriends and stuff like that, because I feel like, what do you need to keep in contact with your ex-girlfriends for? And I'm not saying that you should be at odds with an ex or anything like that, but you don't have to keep in contact with them just to show that you're not at odds, or just to show that you can be friends with your ex and everything. You can still have, you can have positive feelings towards an ex without keeping in contact with them. I feel like when people want to keep in contact with people, sometimes it's just to keep a door open. It is. It's to keep a door open to possibly, dip and dab a little bit when they want to, because it's familiarity. So, like, if I meet a guy and he's got all these female friends, or he's still friends with his ex, I mean, his exes or whatever, that's gonna kind of, I don't know, it might kind of turn me off a little bit, because I don't really care for those type of situations, because I know what those situations can involve or whatever. And I know a lot of times it just be someone who just, y'all keep in contact because y'all still have feelings for each other or whatever, or y'all still may like to have sex from time to time. You'll be surprised at how many people have all kinds of, they have all kind of understandings, quote unquote understandings, where a woman may be okay with you having a girlfriend or even a wife, but as long as she can have you when she wants you or whatever, she can, y'all can have sex or whatever. I mean, you just never know what kind of, and this is not even coming from a place of insecurity. Somebody might listen and be like, oh, that's just insecurity. No, it's not insecurity. I just don't care for my man to have all kinds of dealings and friendships with women. I just don't. Same as a man who wouldn't want his woman keeping in contact with her exes. But we know how this stuff go. I mean, at the end of the day, people are not honest all the time, and people be trying to still slide through from time to time. All it takes is for somebody to get pissed at their mate. Oh yeah, oh, she done pissed me off, or he done pissed me off. Well, let me call Mike over here. You know what I'm saying? That's my homeboy. If I was a man, I would be leery about a woman that keep in contact with her exes. And I'm not gonna lie, at one point in my life, I used to keep in contact with exes, but for me, I knew it wasn't because I still wanted to get with him. In my mind, I felt like, oh, I don't want him, and I know I don't, but he's cool to talk to every now and then. That's how I looked at it. But I realized that was causing problems, because I felt like I would meet other guys and they would be like, "Oh, you still be keeping in contact with your ex? Oh, what's that about?" And in my mind, I didn't understand, because I'm like, "Shit, I ain't trying to mess with them." But now, looking back, I could see how and why it looked that way. Because I mean, come on, like, why do you need to keep in contact with people that you was once with? I'm not saying you got to be enemies with them, but still, there's this one guy that I used to date, and he's one of those guys. He loved to keep in contact with exes, and it is such a turn off. I mean, he'll go back to throwback ass bitches from like 1995, 1994. I am not talking to no man that I knew from 1995. I'm not trying to get with nobody I knew. Like, and I know a lot of times men do stuff like that. Men are easy. The men are quick to do stuff like that. Talk to a girl they knew from back in the day and all that kind of shit. Well, I'm the kind of person, I don't really care to talk to nobody from back in the day like that. No way. Now, and so I'm let alone. I'm not trying to be dealing with nobody from back in the day in that manner. I mean, that's just too far back. But my whole point is, he likes to always keep exes in rotation. He'll keep in contact. He'll call, text, and shit like that. And it's like, I'm just not really with it. And like I told him recently, I said, I'm not interested in spinning the block. I'm not. That may have worked for Nelly and Ashanti, but baby, that shit don't work for everybody. And I just feel like after a certain amount of time, it's just too old to even be trying to go back and rekindle. But anyway, so yeah, I am very leery about men who love to keep in contact with women, ex-women and stuff, and love to maintain friendships with women. I would be very leery about if I was a man too, I would be leery about a woman who loves attention from men, like love attention, love to be on social media, love to post all kind of pictures. I'd be leery about that if I was a man. Like, okay, she likes too much attention, because I'm the same way about a man. I'd be like, yeah, he love attention too much. But anyway, so for me, just from based on my personal experiences and just based on knowing the dynamics between men and women, and just knowing that as grown-ups, for real, like grown-ups, it's like I don't have time to be just being buddies and being friends with a man. If there's a man and I find him to be attractive in some type of way, and all the time you may not be 100% attracted. Like, it may not be that you think he fine as hell, or you think it might be just his personality. It may just be it could be a number of things, but you are attracted to him to where you might want to mess with him. I'm gonna say this: if you ever around somebody and you ever think about having sex with them, if the thought of sex crosses your mind or just something of that nature, you are attracted to that person and you guys are not just friends. And if you are behaving like friends, it's because you are suppressing what you really feel, or like I said before, it's different reasons as to why you can't get with this person like you want to. There's some reservation there, but you are not truly friends, and it's just a matter of time before you cross the line with that person or entertain the thought of crossing the line with that person. You see what I mean? So for me, like I said, it is just the natural feelings that men and women have that, to me, you I don't think you could just be friends. And I want to say this too. I've never been the type of girl that would have a male friend, quote unquote, a male friend that I secretly like, but on deep down on the back end, in the inside, deep down inside, and on the back end, I secretly like him. But on the front end and in front of everybody else, I'm calling him like my brother. He's like my brother. I used to, you know what? Girls that used to do that used to be so fucking annoying to me. Like, bitch, you like him. You like him. And my thing is this: I have real brothers. So if there's ever a man in my life that I look at like a brother, you better believe he is truly like a brother. He is someone I have zero attraction to. He is someone I have never been with in that manner. Ain't never thought about being in that manner. And maybe I grew up with him from childhood or something like that, but I've never had any attraction to this man. That's the only way that I can truly say, oh, he's like my brother. And I never claimed that about any man, like, oh, he's like my brother. But I'm just saying that to say, I remember girls doing that too. Like, they'll like a dude on the low and be like, oh, he's like my brother. Then next thing you know, you hear about them fucking. But yeah, so a lot of times you see people doing that too. They always be like, oh, we're friends. We're friends. This is my friend. But it's like, if you ever notice when you get older, people always assume you're messing with someone, even when you claim that y'all are friends. Because, again, like I said, it's a natural dynamic between men and women that will not allow you to just be friends. And the reason why I say this, because if you think about it, the reason why you are wanting to be around this person is because you do like them. Now, I have like a few male friends that I truly am just friends with. And these male friends, I don't talk to them all the time. I don't, there's boundaries there, because one of my friends, he's a good friend of mine. He's married, and we've never been there. Excuse me. We've never kissed, never had sex, none of that shit. He is truly somebody I can say is my friend. And there are boundaries there. I don't call him at certain times of the day or night, whatever, just out of respect, you know. So, like I said, I'm not saying you can't have friends of the opposite sex and be strictly platonic, but I feel like the chances are slim to none. And this particular friend that I'm talking about, like I said, even though he is married, honey, let me say this: a man is still a man. And I'm not saying that every man gonna want to go around and fuck everything, whatever. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying this: just because he and I are friends, that don't mean that if we spent enough time together that he wouldn't entertain certain thoughts. I mean, because I'm still a woman at the end of the day. And I mean, you never know what vulnerable state you might catch somebody in, even though they're married or in a relationship. But I'm just saying, with this friend, there are boundaries. I don't see him all the time. I don't hang out with him outside. And I don't secretly have no liking feelings for him. But what I'm saying is, because we are friends, and I'm just, I'm saying if we were to spend so much time together, which we would not. But I'm just saying, if we were to, hypothetically speaking, if we were to just spend so much time together, like I said, naturally things happen between a man and a woman. Attraction grows, certain things grow, things that wasn't there starts to grow. You'd be like, oh, damn. You'd be like, I never thought of him in that way. I never thought this. I never, that's how that happens. So, yeah. I would be leery about any man that have a lot of friends. You know what? A lot of female friends. I remember when I was watching The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I remember Cynthia Bailey was kicking it with this guy named Mike Hill. And I remember the episode where she met his friends. Honey, he had all these female friends. And I knew right there, I said, oh, they're not going to work. They're not going to make it. And they didn't. Because I feel like I should be your friend. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that people can't have friends prior. Like I said, people can have friends prior to knowing me. A man can have friends prior to knowing me and things like that. I get that. And I can't do much about that. But we damn sure ain't about to be making new friends, honey. My man cannot come to me talking about hey, babe, this is so-and-so. This is my friend. What? What you mean? Where you mean her at? What you what? And that's not me being insecure. That's just like, what the fuck? What you? But if she's someone he's been knowing from back in the day, or he's been knowing, but still, even then, I would still be like, there would definitely have to be boundaries. Like, the comfort level, So, yeah. But yeah, when I saw that, I was like, yeah, Cynthia and Mike ain't gonna make it. He had all these female friends. What do you need all those female friends for? Huh? So for me, boundaries aren't a suggestion. They're the only thing keeping friends, quote unquote friends, from becoming something else. See, attraction doesn't wait for permission. It exists even when friendship is convenient. So, like I said, going back to the young man who likes the young lady, but he tries to play like they're just friends because he used to mess with her cousin. It's like, even with that situation, he is always constantly keeping in contact with her. And I remember telling her, like, you don't think he likes you in that way? And she tries to act oblivious about it, but yeah, he is obvious. I mean, what man is going to go, make his hard-earned money and, buy you an expensive gift just because you were having a bad day? Honey, that sound like something you do. That sound like something a man do for a bitch he fucking or he trying to fuck. Either one. And I just feel like, again, when it comes to men and women being friends, when there's attraction involved, y'all not friends. Y'all just haven't messed around yet. So for me, it's a big no. It's a big no. I don't agree. And like I said, I don't want people to play in each other's faces when it comes to that. Like, oh no. I heard on Cam Newton's podcast, I remember him talking about that. Matter of fact, just recently he was telling somebody, like, I am not about to be just friends with somebody I'm attracted to. No, absolutely not. And I can't do nothing but respect that, because that's the truth. Let me see something. Let me see if I can pull that up, because that was a good point that he made. Sip my wine. All right, y'all, listen to this.
Is that by choice? I'm not about to be around no woman platonically. Listen. We got to unpack this, Ken. Why? Because I'm not about to play them type of games.
Exactly.
Is it self-control? Call it what you want. I'm asking. Call it. It may be self-control. I'm asking. If she fine, I'm not about to have her around playing like I don't think that she's attractive. Is it possible to think someone's attractive and still behave yourself? Yes. Do you have control of them thoughts? Yes. But I'm not about to play them games. What game is it? The game of saying, hey, we not about to be friends. I don't have good-looking women that's friends around me.
And you know what? And I so agree with him, because even me as a woman, I don't. And when I was saying I have a few male friends, I want to finish that and say I actually don't have a lot of male friends. Not this day and age. I don't. Like I said, at one point I did keep in contact with exes or whatever, but then I stopped that shit because I saw it was causing problems. But overall, now at my age, at my big age, I don't even want to entertain a man that I'm not interested in. That's where I'm at. I don't have male friends just lingering around me, calling me, hitting me up. I don't have that. And I don't want that, because to me, if I don't look at you in that way, if I don't want to fuck with you, I don't want to waste time even entertaining you. And like I said, don't get me wrong, I do have my male friends, the few, like the one I just mentioned, the one I said he's married. But see, I've been knowing him for a long time. I've been knowing him actually since high school. So and when we became friends, after high school, around like what 2009, somewhere in there, and we've been friends ever since. So that's a long time established friendship. So yeah, that and so that was all through my 20s and 30s, and so yeah. But I'm saying now, at 40 something, I am not meeting a man just to be friends. I'm not. It's a waste of time. Shit.
So no, just all the. Do you have any ugly ones? I gotta ask. I don't even have women friends, bro. Respectfully. Why? I understand you saying you're not finna play this game, but Cam, you're a smart man. I'm gonna need you to go deeper than that. Yeah, we're gonna. I know me. You know you, okay? I know me. And what that mean? That means if I'm around a woman long enough, I'm going to find something good in her that attracts me. Okay, and when you're attractive, what then happens? When you're attractive, what then happens? Sex. Oh, God damn.
And let me say this, and this is not me saying that, oh, I'm gonna have sex with every man I find attractive. No, it's just me being honest with myself. I'm gonna get irritated if I'm around a man that I know I'm attracted to. I feel Cam on this. I'm not playing those games with myself, because I'm gonna start entertaining the thought of being with him. Like, oh, no. So I'm not sitting up here about to act like, oh, he my friend. He's just my friend. We just cool. We just buddies. Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Cam, this is a bigger issue than I thought we had. So understanding that I know what's to come from a platonic situation, I don't even play.
Yep. Me either.
No, I don't do that. Baby, you too fine for me. We're not doing that. Interesting. No. So okay. If I take the word friendship off of the table, do you have platonic relationships in your life that involve women? I just told you, I don't have no attractive woman that I'm cool with that I do not have plans on stabbing.
Yep.
Damn. This is my camera. Listen, my fellow listeners. Self-control is very important. No. We're not going to do that. What? Self-control is identity.
It's not even about lack of self-control.
Fine. I know me. Now, it's very healthy for you to be saying this. We're not going to do that. I'm not saying it's not healthy. Yeah. But there's something deeper to this conversation, Cam. Listen. The why is missing. This is my camera right here. Uh-huh. It's simple. Baby, I'm not your friend. Mm-hmm. Baby, I'm not your buddy. Baby, I'm not the friend zone. I'm the guy that's trying to score and go for two. I'm in the end zone. God! You so used to touchdowns, Cam. Now you can't. I'm used to tush push. Now you can't kick no field goals. God, we don't kick field goals. We go for it every time. Oh, God. Baby, if you're going to sit up here and tell me, hey, friend. No, friend. Even my girlfriend know that I don't have no girl friends, So question. Ball snapping. Hey, that was not a snap. Hold on. Ball snapping. Pause. Do not snap. Ball snap, boy, for real. Question for you. In your current relationship, can you be friends with your girl's friends?
No.
Do you have a relationship then? No. Why?
That was a stupid ass question. No. And I'm gonna stop it right there. We heard enough. So y'all get my point. Yeah, it's a no. And any woman out there who is entertaining men who you are calling your friend, because maybe you don't look at him like that, because that's possible too. So that's another thing I used to do. I used to entertain men that I didn't look at like that, but I knew that they looked at me in that way. And that's unfair. I don't even do that anymore. I don't entertain him. If I know that he looks at me in that way, he's attracted to me, but I know I'm not attracted to him, I'm not entertaining him. I'm not entertaining. It's not about being mean. I'm just not gonna waste time. If I know, hell, if I look at him in that way and he don't look at me in that way, I don't even want to keep entertaining him. I don't want him to entertain me because we're not aligned. So for me, it's just about time and it's just about not wasting any. Now I do know that it is said and true that, oh, you should be friends first with someone, da 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 da. But yeah, I want to be friends. I want to build that friendship with someone that I know that I'm attracted to in that way, and I know I want in that way, and I know that eventually I want more. But someone that I'm just somebody I'm just not interested like that. I'm not wasting no time. So, women, for my female listeners, if you have a guy in your life who likes to come around you, he likes to keep in contact with you, he likes to check in with you. Oh, hi, how you doing? I just want to see how you doing. Girl, he likes you. Honey, he likes you. But there's a reason why he's not moving forward like he wants to. Or he might be trying to see where you at. He might be trying to feel you out a little bit. He might be trying to see how far he can go. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, understand that he's not just trying to be your friend. He likes you. If he is, like I said, keeping in contact and just making it his business, it's so necessary for him to be your friend. He likes you. He wants more. So yeah. And if you don't want more with him, then I suggest stop entertaining him. And it's not about being mean, but it's like, I'm not meeting up with you. I'm not going out to dinner with you. I'm not about to just play friends with you. I so agree with Kim. I'm not about to play tonic. Because that ain't really what I feel. So yeah. Now, if he's a man that I'm not attracted to, I'm still not entertaining him. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't think like that. Maybe I should. I just don't see the point in having like just super friends because I feel like I said, at this point in life, nobody's really trying to just be friends. For what? For what? So let's get this straight. Let's say if there was a dude, right? And he was not attracted to me. Because most of the time when people be friends, it's somebody they're attracted to. So let's say there's a dude and I meet him and he's not attracted to me. He's not gonna be trying to be my friend. He wouldn't even be talking to me if he wasn't attracted to me. He's not even gonna talk to me. He's not even gonna entertain me. So the attraction is there off rip. At this day and age, when you meet somebody, if there is attraction there, he's not trying to be your friend. I'm sorry. Or she's not trying to be your friend. No. There's more to it. So yeah, that's my take on that. So to speak to that long debate that's been going on, if men and women can be friends, absolutely not if there's attraction involved. And if there's consistency involved. Because that's what I'm saying. People don't tend to people are not consistent with people that they're not attracted to. They're not. They're not. So that's excuse me. Damn, something's got in my throat. So that's my take on that. And you guys feel free to comment. Feel free to, add your, thoughts or whatever. We can agree to disagree, however y'all want to do it. I'm open to it, okay? Now, because friendships require honesty, boundaries require maturity, and attraction requires self-awareness. You know? So maybe the real question isn't, can men and women be friends? Maybe the real question is, what happens when attraction enters the room? You see? So, yeah. And I want to say this too. the question becomes, do we really want friendship? Or do we just want proximity without accountability? That's a good one. That's a good one, Savannah. So, yeah, at the end of the day, this isn't just about friendships. It's about how we show up in relationships, in communication, and in truth. And growth starts when we stop avoiding the real conversation. And on that note, let's move into this week's quote. A life spent making mistakes is not only more honorable, but more useful than a life spent doing nothing. George Bernard Shaw. All right, guys, that's it for today's podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe and follow me on social media. All right, take care.